Yo, people, welcome back to another episode of the Football Heritage with me, Josh, Dan, and Ore. Obviously, a couple other people might be coming through as well, so watch out for that. But you might know the usuals. Come on, man. By now, like, comment, and subscribe, and share with your people. We're at 59 subscribers now. Obviously, I want to get to 60 by the end of the Euros. And another thing, I want to get to 100 subscribers by the end of the year. I think that's very possible, isn't it? But the powers of the people in it. So you guys get that popping, share of your people so that it can happen, man. But you know what we're doing now. Come on. The Euros have been a mazza this week, man. It's been a mazza this week. Bare things have been happening. So let's start with the first game in it. Let's go in chronological order in it. So the first game was let me share screen. The first game was Wales versus Denmark. So let's get our thoughts on that. Dan, what was your thoughts on that game and how impressed were you with Denmark?
I think the scoreline was a bit. It's not really that accurate of how the game went down. I mean, obviously you saw the late two goals from Denmark, and I didn't think it was a red card for Harry Wilson. Just like the last game with Ampadu, I thought it was very harsh. But I mean, I think Denmark are a solid team, a steady team, but I'm not as impressed with them as I think a lot of people are. And I think because Wales, I never rated them that highly either. I thought Wales were always uh, quite a poor team anyway. So for them to smash Wales, it didn't really surprise me, but it's kind of notch on their belt, if you know what I mean, going into the next round. So we'll see how they do, but it didn't totally blow me away.
Yeah, I think it was a good game. Obviously, many goals. I Wales, I feel they lacked a bit in going forward and stuff like that. I also feel Bill is a bit guilty of trying to do too much. I feel like he kind of like takes away that from the team where he kind of like I think I remember there was a header there was a cross that was coming in, that was going for more or something, and Bill went in and got the header, but he probably shouldn't have been the person to. So just things like that, he just tries to sometimes. Obviously, he's still a decent player. I mean, he was good for them in the group stages, but yeah, Denmark, their chance creation is quite high. To be fair, I was quite impressed with that. They did create a lot of chances and stuff like that. In terms of the scoreline, yeah, I kind of agree with Dan. It was just slightly flattering, but take nothing away from them. They obviously played well. They got a result, kept a clean sheet, and they'll be interesting to look for towards to in the quarterfinals.
I missed it most of the game in it, but I saw Dolberg's first goal in it. But one player that I really like in Denmark, and I kind of earmarked him before, was Darmskad.
Yeah.
He's got tech, bro. He's got tech. So, the ones watch out for him in it. But Denmark are doing their thing. Obviously stronger than Wales, definitely. So obviously to beat Wales 4-0 is quite surprising, is But
Mm.
as you guys are saying, it's good for their confidence. And that's the most important things going into tournament football, because tournament football, as we've seen, is so unpredictable. There's a big element of luck in this to it. So you have to take as much luck as you get. Taking advantage of the opportunities that are given. So that's the most important thing. But moving on to the next game, I missed this one a bit as well. Italy beating Austria. So, all right, what was your thoughts on this game as well?
Um, as well, I didn't get to catch too much of the game, but I caught the ending, and yeah, I just feel like it felt like Austria were applying a lot of pressure on Italy and stuff like that. Obviously everybody thought it would be a quite comfortable win for Italy, but I guess that wasn't the case. They forced them to extra time, and they scored an offside goal. It could have been much different if that was allowed. So I feel like just going into extra time just kind of took away the physicality from Austria, because I could tell their players were tired and stuff like that, and Italy obviously had more options and stuff like that, so it helped them in that extra time, and they just seemed like they had more firepower in them. obviously good game from Austria. A bit unlucky, they could have obviously found a way to beat Italy, but I'm sure they'll be proud of what they could, accomplish. And but moving on from Italy into the quarterfinals against Belgium, it'll be interesting to see how they also played it as well, because I feel like I said it before that they hadn't properly been tested. They were tested against Austria, and they'll be tested more against Belgium. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Dan, what was your thoughts on the game?
Do you know, I think Italy looked a lot worse. And I don't know if it was that Austria were good or that I think it might also be a factor that Italy weren't playing at home for the first time. Because I think, even, I know we're going to get onto England and the Germany game and whatnot, but I think people don't credit home advantage with how much it really adds to the team. Like even Hungary, when Hungary were playing at home, they looked against Portugal, I think it was, they actually looked decent until like 20 minutes to go. And I think with Italy, they really took a lot of that in the group stages as well. Granted, like their group wasn't the strongest. Like Turkey were really poor. Wales, as we've seen, were not that good either. So I don't think the group was the strongest, but I think the home advantage really helped them. And now that they were playing at Wembley, they didn't look as good. Like as we saw, the game went into extra time, and the if it wasn't for Arnautovic straying offside, they might have even been out. So Italy, I'll be interested to see how they do in the next round. Obviously, they're playing Belgium, I believe. So that'll be a very interesting game because Belgium have looked pretty good so far. So yeah, I'll be definitely interested to see how they do going forward, whether it was in fact the home advantage or it was just a poor game where Austria played well.
100%. I hear that, man. Um, Denzel's coming through in a minute, so we'll give him time. But let's move on to the next game. And this game I did actually watch, so I can give my honest opinion. From the little bits I saw from Italy versus Austria and this game, I saw some parallels in terms of that it was quite a close game in it, where you saw how Austria were pressuring Italy. I feel Czechs were pressuring Netherlands, but Netherlands were getting in. And I do think the red card had a massive effect on the game. It's not the deciding factor, of course, but had a massive effect on the game. And we saw as a result, Czech Republic scored their 2 goals afterwards because I think 30 or 40 seconds before that, Marlon had the chance where he went in. He could have rounded the keeper, but he didn't. So with that one, if I was a Dutch, I would be so disappointed because with the way the game was going, I would have sworn the Netherlands winning the game if they didn't go down to 10 men. But you got to give credit to Czech Republic because, again, as we were saying, with luck and taking the initiative when you get given that, they did, and they scored the 2 goals. And, they've done very well, man, to get to the quarterfinals. Czech Republic, them ones. You got to big them up. But let me come to Denzel because I know you didn't really rate the Netherlands too much. What was your thoughts on this game?
Well, I said it about Holland. I weren't really too convinced with them. To be honest, even in the group stages, obviously everyone felt like the people got blinded by that perfect record. They kind of had a meaty group. North Macedonia. Who else was in the? It was Ukraine.
Austria and
Ukraine and Austria. Yeah. Obviously, Austria, Ukraine are decent teams. North Macedonia, that's a bypass in my opinion. But in those games, I didn't really think they looked too convincing. I wasn't really amazed by them coming into the tournament, even in the group stages. Despite the results, I wasn't really amazed by them. They've got a long way to go before they can start competing again in the major tournaments. Obviously, they don't really have the squad per se to do it, and people can say they missed out with Virgil van Dijk, etc., etc. I'll put it down to the manager personally. He's not that guy. He's not that guy, man. That's all I have to say. Frank de Boer, as Jose said, the worst manager in Premier League history, and he showed it again against the Czechs. But
I think that's quite harsh to put him on him.
But I wouldn't say it's harsh. I wouldn't say it's harsh because at the end of the day, Holland have a traditional formation that they normally use, and he switched it up. I can't lie, it worked very well in the group stages with the flying wing backs, Dumfries and Van Aanholt. I'll give them credit. I thought that was the right move, but against the Czech Republic, was it the right thing to do? I'm not too sure. But I'll give credit to the Czech Republic so they played very well. I feel like they played better than Germany. Not Germany, better than Holland. It wasn't a thing where it was a smash and grab. I generally feel like they deserve to win, so you have to give respect to them.
Dan?
No, I don't know if I agree. I think Holland were the architects of their own downfall. I think once Marlon missed that massive chance and then De Ligt got sent off like 2 minutes later, I think that was a massive momentum swing in the game. And getting a player sent off like in more so now than maybe a couple of years ago, I think it means so much more for the other team. Like, I think they can benefit so much more. And once De Ligt was sent off, I think it was game, set, and match. And I think you could feel it was game over as well, because it just wasn't their day, Holland. And even as Denzel said, in the group stage, I didn't think they were that good. Like they almost bottled it against Ukraine. They were 2-0 up and they threw the 2-goal lead away, and they got lucky scoring the winner. But this, obviously, they will be disappointed going out to Czech, and they should be, because in reality, they probably should be going to the semi-finals given the bracket that Holland had. But to lay the blame at Frank de Boer, I don't know if it's really his kind of burden to hold. I know he resigned or he was kicked out, one of the two, but I don't know if he was really the reason they lost. More so maybe De Ligt, Marlon, they might be the ones that in the game have more of the blame to shoulder. But overall, Holland, arguably injuries have affected their team quite a lot, because Van der Beek, Van Dijk are big elements of that team. But this is definitely underachieving, considering it was Czech that they got beaten by. And I'll be interested to see how they do next tournament, but they've definitely disappointed this one.
Mm-hmm. Ari?
Yeah, I kind of saw an upset in this game. I think I said in the last episode. Just because I just felt as well that the Dutch weren't really convincing with what I saw in the group stages. Although they should have won this game and they looked like they would up until the red card. And would I really put the blame on Frank de Boer? I know I've not really been a fan of his lineups, but this is a game they should have won. And I just feel like it's down to those two moments. Malin missing the one-on-one and De Ligt getting the red card. Because sometimes no matter how much anticipation, no matter how much, training, no matter how much detail you put into football, things could just change like that. Someone could just get a red card, someone could miss a sitter, someone could, and these are things that are kind of out of your control. I feel like, yeah, Czech did do their best, and obviously credit to them still. They took advantage of that red card and, they had a few chances and obviously they scored from two of them. So that was quite impressive. Yeah, the Dutch just didn't look like they were up for it. Even up until the red card, you probably say they should have probably scored themselves, but because you take your chances when you can. But yeah, this is definitely underachieving, and it's quite disappointing. In terms of Van Dijk and Van de Beek, yeah, they would obviously have helped them to make that team better. Probably could have pushed them past this round. But right now they just have to, regroup, get someone new in there and just try and see how they can move forward, because they haven't been very competitive in international tournaments for a while. So yeah.
This was at their first tournament since 2014, I think. So that shows you something. Let's move on. A big game here. Belgium versus Portugal. You know what? Yeah. I know the stats show that Portugal had like 23 shots in it, but I don't think many of them were that threatening. They had one that hit the post, but more time they weren't that threatening. And I think one thing, yeah, I don't think Belgium's defense, as bad as people like to make out or as old as it seems, I don't think it's actually that bad. I think it's serviceable enough to win them the tournament. But they're not Belgium. They're not I mean, you don't have to be impressive to win the tournament, but yeah, I mean, yeah, like the way I'm talking, like there's nothing really to write home about. But one wonder goal kind of just separated them, so it's one of them ones there, really. So the big misses if Hazard and De Bruyne are out for not a substantial time, but they're out and they're not fully fit as well. So that's another thing now. But yeah, Dan, what was your thoughts on the game?
No, I think you summed it up quite well. I didn't think it was really a very eventful game. Like, I thought Portugal didn't really look good, but all tournament they've not really looked good. So it wasn't any different. Belgium, I will say though, Belgium on the counter attack did look very poor. Like they had, especially nearing the end of the game, they had 3 or 4 times where it was like 2v2s, 3v2s, and they wasted it every single time. And on another day, it might have cost them, but I mean, luckily for them, it didn't. The goal that Belgium scored, again, the keeper has to be doing better for me. That was, it should have been saved, really. And the a lot of the Portuguese players didn't have good games. Like, I know people are gonna pick out Ronaldo because he's the main man of the team, and I know Bruno got a lot of slander, and um, Bernardo as well was getting a lot of slander. But I mean, I don't think it's really anyone in particular. I think no one really stepped up. Like, it was just a poor performance, and nothing really can be said about it.
Mm-hmm. Ori?
Yeah, I wasn't too impressed with Belgium. I know they won, but just the amount of chances they were conceding was was quite disappointing. The attack also could have been a bit better, a bit more clinical and stuff like that. Yeah, I do feel they would get, I don't see them winning the competition. I just don't think that the overall structure is good enough for me. Yeah, because imagine if a team is raising those shots on targets and stuff like that, one is bound to go in against them. So just because of that, I can't really put them on a high pedestal. Who really impressed me? I think in terms of Portugal, obviously, I feel they could have done better as well. Could have taken some of their chances. Yeah, they were a bit unlucky. I think shot came off the post or something like that. But they could have taken one of those chances. And I feel if they did and forced it to extra time, they probably could have won the game. But yeah, nothing too much can be said about this game. It just seemed like after that first goal from Belgium, they just kind of, didn't look too ambitious to get a second one. So yeah, I'll be interested to see how they also do in against Italy, but that's a game I'm looking forward to.
What about you, Denzel? What was your thoughts on this game?
I think it's more so of Portugal not taking their chances rather than Belgium played well. They didn't really play. They didn't really impress me too much. Obviously, it was an excellent goal from Hazard. You have to give him respect. It was a good goal. But yeah, Belgium didn't really impress me too tough. It's just Portugal needs to be more clinical. I feel like personally, Ronaldo had a decent game. He wasn't as bad as people were making it out to be as well. I don't think he was that bad, but people needed to step up, and nobody did, I guess. So for the defending champions to go out so early in the tournament, I guess it's a disappointment for them. But yeah, it is what it is. Not really much more to say about it, to be honest.
Yeah, it was a mediocre game, honestly, man. You know the ones where it's just big players hype. That's it, man. It wasn't really a good game. This was a good game.
This was a good game.
This was a good game.
This was a good game.
Ori's
I was
rubbing
about to say,
Ori, take the floor, bruv. Your boy turned up clutch, bruv.
Yeah, interesting game. Spain's defense kind of disappointed me, especially towards the last stages. You could have just seen off the game 3-1 or something. But yeah, like I told Josh before, I'm not a huge fan of Spain's CBs. I think centre backs, I think they lack aerial threats, and it's quite easy to get the advantage of them. And I mean, Orsic could did that quite easily. So yeah, the first goal as well was a bit of a howler. I don't know how that happened. Yeah, control the ball as a keeper. He should be able to do that. But he kind of made up for it, with a couple good saves. Um, further on in the match and stuff like that. Yeah, I've always been impressed with how Spain moved the ball around and stuff like that. I think after halftime, they were like 70 something up in possession. They really know how to keep the ball, how to create chances and stuff like that. Um, Croatia impressed me how they, fought to get back into the game. They were a bit obviously unlucky, but I just feel just overall quality, Spain just edged it over them. So there wasn't too much they could do about that. Morata, I think he missed one chance in the first half or something that he should have scored, I think from a header or something, and he's usually good at those. You probably should have said he should have scored in the 90 minutes of football, even though that he did help the team out, dropping deep into midfield and the midfield overload. I think that's kind of how Spain have always kind of played. I think from when they won was it the Euros with Fabregas as
Yeah, the false nine.
false nine, yeah. So they kind of like it when the midfield is just too packed for anyone to kind of like get out and see any space. Busquets was really impressive. Pedri as well continues to amaze me, especially how young he is. Yeah, overall, just a good game from them. Torres, Sarabia, even Oyarzabal when he came on. Yeah, I see them. They should definitely be getting the advantage of Switzerland, and getting to the semi-finals is probably some would say overachieving, because I guess a lot of people didn't see too much happening from Spain. But they could find their way to the finals, semi-finals. That would be quite impressive. But yeah.
That's true, that's true. Yeah, what Ori was touching on with the defenders, yeah, they ain't got no aerial dominance, man. Laporte, Pau Torres,
Yeah.
what's the other brother name? Garcias.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very weak aerially, and you saw it by the way Croatia was just whipping in them balls, and
And stuff and even
just
against Poland, Lewandowski, that header
yeah.
was conveniently way too easy. I feel like they let people just get headers quite easily against them. But yeah.
100%, 100%, man. But hey, I said Spain were boring in a couple of their games in it, but when Spain want to play, they can play, man. They can play. But yeah, Dan, what's your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I thought it was a crazy, crazy game. The first own goal that went in was mad, and I think the game just kind of followed suit. In as you said, like before this, coming into this game, I thought Spain not very exciting team. They just kind of keep possession and knock it about. But they put on a show. They put on a show. Them and Croatia done well. Um, yeah, I think Ori said most of what I was kind of thinking about the game. Pedri really impressed me. I think Morata off the ball was very good. He did miss one or two big chances. Um, Ferran Torres also impressed me. I thought he was quite good. But yeah, so I think Spain should get the better of Switzerland, but I'd be interested to see how they do in the semi-finals, because then they'll be playing either Italy or Belgium, which would be, I think, both are good matchups for them, because I think with Italy, they're another team that like to control the ball and have a very good midfield. And Belgium have Lukaku up front, who I think would absolutely bully all of their centre backs.
That's disgusting, when you deep
all of their centre backs. So I'd be interested to see how they do there. But yeah, it's Spain. This performance has changed a lot of people's heads, I think, myself included.
You just made me deep. Lukaku against Laporte, Garcia, and Pau Torres. Good night. Good night. Good night, man. Denzel, what are you saying about the game?
Very, very, very entertaining game. Yeah, I have to give my respect to Spain. Obviously, I'm not gonna invest too much into them. Like Ori, I'm not investing that deep into their stocks, because I feel like they should get through past Switzerland, but the semi-finals, I think will test them properly. This was a good game, obviously. Scoring 5. They proved me wrong. I thought they were just not tiki taka, but I thought they just a team that liked to keep the ball without really making any chances and scoring many goals. But they proved me wrong. But conceding 3 is a bit of a concern. Conceding the 3 in the 90 minutes, I feel like you said, that defense is a little bit shaky. If they come up against a proper world-class striker, could eat. Like Lukaku will probably eat against the Spain team if Belgium and Spain do meet each other. But yeah, I have to give them respect for what they did. It was a very, very entertaining game.
100%, man. 100%.
Do you guys think Spain would prefer to meet Italy or Belgium?
Probably Italy. I think they'd prefer to meet Italy. That'd be a very interesting game to watch.
Yeah, 100%.
It's midfield.
Italy press high though. Italy press, they will press you quite hard. Belgium's press, I've been saying it, man. Their press is bare weak, bruv. There's no intensity in their press, bruv. And that's one thing, when you're playing against teams that like to keep the ball, you gotta press them hard, or you gotta be willing to defend. If Belgium might want to defend.
You know what I was saying about Busquets here? Like, I thought obviously he's a bit older and, he doesn't have too much in that. But at times when Croatia were pressing and stuff like that, how he came out of the press so easy.
Oh, no, he's still got it.
He makes the difficult look so easy.
Yeah,
I think he's just mastered that role.
He really has. It's just natural for him at this point. Yeah.
I can't lie, players of that ability and of that skill set, they don't really lose being one step ahead. It's just their brain the brain is different, man. It's different. Another entertaining game. This one, I can't lie, this one topped it off, bro. This one topped it off. One thing I need to mention, you see that Benzema touch, bro? You see that Benzema touch? That is illegal, bro.
When I first saw that, I thought it was a mistake actually. But then when I watched it on the replay, like how the ball's behind him, then he touched it to bring it forward. Oh, ridiculous.
It's not normal, bro. That's not normal. What? Nah, bro. That's different, bro. But France got knocked out, bro, by Switzerland, who, in my opinion, Switzerland aren't that good. Honestly, yeah. And I was saying it on the GC, that France midfield was getting overran, bruv. They were getting cooked, bruv, so easily. Again, I think it's just international football. Bare teams don't press that well, innit? They just don't press that well. Mbappe, Benzema, Griezmann, and it's because their fullbacks don't come with them as well. So it's so easy to play through them. And you saw them the way you see Xhaka, yeah. When Xhaka has time and space on the ball, he is quite dangerous, innit? And you saw it in the final goal, innit, that Switzerland scored. But yeah, man, France, I saw it against Germany as well. Germany were playing in between the lines against them as well. But I mean, it's just that France have so much individual ability that, I mean, they're inevitable. And you saw that they had like a 5-minute cameo where France went crazy in it. Like they were just bopping Switzerland around. But yeah, what was our thoughts on that, Dan?
Yeah, I thought it was a crazy, crazy game. I mean, Pogba had a great game. I think Xhaka had a great game as well. But I think from the France team, I think apart from Benzema and Pogba, no one else really played well. I think Mbappe was poor. Obviously, people are going over the top because, I mean, he missed a penalty, so it's expected they're going to go over the top. But yeah, everyone else, like the defenders were woeful. They were woeful. Rabiot, I don't even want to get started on Rabiot because some of the things that have come out about what his mum has said about to other people's family, I'm very puzzled as to where.
What happened?
Yeah, so Rabiot's mum was beefing Pogba's mum and Mbappe's mum in the stands and making some wild claims.
I'm not surprised because of I think it's well known that Rabiot is a problem in the training ground and in the changing room.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, I'm puzzled. Where's this audacity coming from? Because Rabiot has been nothing but shocking for as long as I can remember. I can't remember a good Rabiot performance. So to me, I'm especially to a player like Pogba, who essentially carried you for the past how many games? Like, and I mean, with France, I think loads of stuff has now come out about the dressing room and about Pavard talking shit about Pogba and whatnot. But and I think a lot of it is being overblown because stuff like that does happen in dressing rooms all the time, and it's not uncommon. And especially with France, with France, it's part of France
tradition.
Heritage.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's
tradition, part of France heritage that they have a bit of beef cracking in the dressing room. So I don't think that's the reason they lost. I think Switzerland just done the old passion merchant. Like Granit Xhaka, I think had a very good game. I think partially because France played with two in midfield, he had a lot more time and space, so he could really thread passes through. I mean the pass for the equalizer of the third goal was crazy.
Yeah, and he stopped in it, and then that was cool.
Yeah, that was a crazy pass. And even the finish from Gavranovic was really, really good. So Switzerland, I don't see them doing anything next round. I see Spain bouncing them out, especially because Jacques is suspended. But for them to beat France was an incredible, incredible achievement. But last thing I want to say is I don't think people should go over the top with the Mbappe slander. Like he's still 22, he's still
We'll touch on
young.
that. We'll touch on Mbappe in a minute. Yeah, don't worry.
It's a bit too much. Like, and especially with some of the comparisons people are doing. Obviously, we spoke before about the Rashford one, and people saying, "Oh, Rashford would never have this performance," as if 2 months ago he didn't put in a worse performance at the Europa League final against Unai Emery. Like, I think people need to relax on that and just kind of let France simmer and bake for the World Cup because we still know they're a different threat.
100%, man. Denzel, what's your thoughts on the game?
I think Dan touched on most of the points I was going to talk about. I just want to say, Paul Pogba had no help apart from Benzema. This guy had no help, and it's so sad to see. It's so sad to see. Like obviously, people are gassing him up in a France shirt because of Carlisle. He plays a lot better in a France shirt, or so people think he does. In reality, I just think people don't watch him on a regular basis at United, to be honest. But yeah, Paul Pogba had a great tournament, but it wasn't enough. His teammates let him down. I hate to say it, but Kante Ballon d'Or shouts gone. It's not happening. He's not winning all. Yeah, he's not winning the Ballon. It's unfortunate because I feel like a lot of people wanted to see that happen, but yeah, he didn't have a good tournament. To be fair, did Rabiot play left back? Right. I just want to.
Yeah, wing back, innit?
Yeah. Playing one of the wing backs.
I just hope I wasn't imagining it because what is that? Why is Rabiot playing at left wing back or wherever?
Both of their fullbacks, both their left backs are injured, innit? So
that, but it's just it's bad as poor. But you have to give credit to Switzerland. Ore obviously had the Xhaka stocks and they came through for him. He had a very, very, very good game. Conceding 3, Longley. This is what confuses me as well about France is they have a lot of defensive options when you look at their squad depth. How can you get it wrong with that centre back partnership? Like, how can you get it wrong? I don't understand. When you have so many options, maybe he felt overwhelmed by the amount of centre back options that he had. I don't see how you go with Longley. Out of all of you could have had Kunde, Upamecano, Konate, so many different options, but you decide to go with Longley, which is a bit confusing to me. Obviously, we're hearing talk about maybe Zidane coming in. I think they'll stick with Deschamps. I think he won him a World Cup, so you have to give him respect. But yeah, it's very disappointing for France to be out so early in the tournament.
100%. What about you, Ari? What was your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, Switzerland obviously went ahead. I think everybody kind of expected France to come back into the game. I'm still quite interested in what would have happened if Switzerland did go 2-0 up. I still think France would have probably come back, but it was just one of those games, you know. They were 3-1 up at the 80th minute, and you know they just collapsed, just similar to the way Spain did as well. I mean, obviously Spain were lucky that they got those 2 goals in the extra time, but France weren't too lucky and, you know, forced to penalties. And to me, I would say when it goes to penalties, it's anyone's game really, you know. So they should have been really trying to avoid that situation. But yeah, Pogba was impressive. Xhaka was impressive. Really helped Switzerland get that final goal and just how he played in general with his passes and stuff like that. Rabiot, yeah, not impressive at all. I think Rabiot was kind of meant to play the Matuidi role in this tournament, but obviously he doesn't have the defensive nous or just the overall technical ability.
It's not a good player, man. It's just not a good player.
He ain't got the juice. He ain't got the juice.
He's not that guy, as you know. But Kante and Pogba in midfield, you know, I've always had a problem with that because I know a lot of people say Kante Pogba, but the reason why Kante Pogba worked in the last World Cup was because of Matuidi, and he's really kind of like that unsung hero because he did always come centrally and kind of covered all the gaps they left behind. Because to me, Pogba for France, I see him more like basically like an attacking midfielder. He he basically tries to play between the lines, behind the lines consistently, tries to play those forward balls. And I see Kante is just, box to box, just going back and forth and stuff like that. So Matuidi was the one who used to cover the gaps that they left behind. And Rabiot was supposed to do that. And he couldn't. I'm also not a fan of the three at the back that France used. Yeah, it's not just in general, I'm not even a fan of three at the back formation. It's not something I really like seeing in football too much. I'd always prefer 4-3-3. I feel like three at the back just kind of like, I know Chelsea just won the Champions League with three at the back. Inter just won, I know, the Scudetto with a three at the back, but I don't know. I just feel like it's a very short-term option, and it just kind of like works sometimes, doesn't work sometimes. And for France, it didn't work, unfortunately. Switzerland now play the next game without Xhaka, so that's kind of hard on them because they're going up against a very quality midfield. So whatever happens against Spain, I feel like they'll just be impressed with the fact that they got to the quarterfinals. And for France, I just think they just have to regroup. The World Cup is coming up next year. They should just be preparing and take better options to the World Cup, not someone like Longley, because upon all the options they have, I mean, I can't even start. That's the one position in where they're stacked. They're too, they have too many good players in that position, and you just happen to take arguably one of the worst. It's not, it doesn't really speak well of them. But congrats to Switzerland, congrats to the Swiss. They played well, did their thing, and they got through. But yeah. Oh, and obviously I didn't touch on Mbappe. Yeah, this tournament he hasn't really, he never really hit the stride and stuff like that. Like I was telling Josh earlier, I kind of feel like it's always good when a player has that moment in their career when they have that low point per se, because let's be real, his career was looking quite good, quite like a poster career, winning the World Cup at 19, winning the league for Monaco, winning the league multiple times with PSG. So I think between last year, the Champions League and this Euros, that's probably like the lowest point that he's reached. And it's obviously how he bounces back from this, which I think he will. The World Cup is next year. France would still be contenders. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes for them. But yeah.
With the Mbappe thing, moving aside from the Twitter thing with he's the way they're trying to make him seem like he's Rashford or he's just a pace merchant or stuff like that. What do you make of the whole attitude thing, and especially about France and the overall attitude, and people trying to point the finger at Benzema as well, saying the Tariq Kanan thing, the ones there. Do you think people are just trying to? What's the word? People are just trying to.
They're trying to scapegoat and find excuses.
They're creating storylines.
If they win the penalty shootout, none of this exists.
True.
Exactly. It's all to create clicks and generate attention and all that nonsense. We know France are a good team. We know they'll bounce back. It's people taking advantage of their loss and getting clicks from it, in my opinion.
And there's always arguments in the dressing room. Like if there's a dressing room with no arguments, then you'd be more concerned.
Exactly. That is true.
When players because at the end of the day, these guys are winners, and winners, when you're not performing at your peak level, they're gonna be arguing with each other. They're gonna say, "Why are you not doing this? Why are you not doing that?" So a lot of people are trying to make something out of nothing and trying to justify why France lost. I mean, in reality, it was penalty shootouts. It's a lottery.
I hear that, man. Because just the way people have been talking on this, especially about Mbappe's attitude, and just man are really trying to get onto him about it and act like if they know him. That's one thing I don't really like when people try and do this whole investigation thing and think that they actually know the brother. Like Mbappe might actually be arrogant and he might have an oversized ego. Like I'm not even denying that, but it's just how people have such definitive belief that he's this, he's that. When you don't even know the brother, man, just allow in it. But I hear the Giroud thing where he was like, Giroud didn't have the same energy for me and stuff like that. I'm like, hey, come on, man. But it is what it is, man. But you man have any final thoughts on France before we move on?
Au revoir. That's what I have to say.
I heard it. So he said au revoir, but now it's coming back home, bro. It's coming home.
Yeah, let's go.
It was coming on.
Jesus, absolute scenes. Absolute scenes yesterday. Let's get.
But like, as much as it might be coming home, yeah, I didn't think that performance was that good. Honestly, I feel like Bearman put professional performances.
I don't know, man. I think you're discrediting England. I think if we're being honest, yeah, Germany came in and people were scared of Germany after what they'd done to Portugal. People were scared. People were saying, "Hey, this Germany team could be dangerous, especially with Gossens and the wingbacks." And people were saying about Southgate, should he match them and go with the back three as well, or should we try and attack them because on paper, arguably, we have a better squad than them, especially going forward. So, but like throughout the game, apart from when Sterling gave the ball away and Muller nearly scored, I don't think they really had a high quality chance. I think we
And
defended
the
very,
The
very
Havertz
well.
one as well. The Havertz chance as well was a good chance.
But even
Yeah.
But
that,
that was good
was.
technique from
Uh,
Havertz.
that
That
was
was
in-
good
Are you
technique.
talking about the one that went wide or the one Pickford saved?
No, the one Pickford saved. That was a good chance. But nah, that
But
was good technique anyway.
But
to volley
even
it
that,
to-
like I think it was. I don't think that was a high quality chance though. And
Werner
even
yeah,
had
it
a
wasn't a
chance
high
as
quality
well.
chance, but it was a chance. I
and
guess.
it was straight at Pickford really. So like I think England as a unit defended really well and neutralized a very dangerous Germany team. And then on the other end of the spectrum, Kane really should have scored at the end of the first half. And then in the second half, we took our chances. So I don't really think there's any reason to say it wasn't a good performance. Like England done their thing.
I don't think it was a very good
I
performance.
feel
per
like
se.
Josh
I think professional.
Josh. I feel like you're getting blinded by the first half. The first half was a bit mid, but you have to give us. I feel like when it's England, sometimes people think because of the whole facade around England and obviously the England fans were very passionate and all that. A lot of people are quick to like just disregard England's performances, but we have to give it up to the England players. We had it was a good game against a good German side. So I'm not afraid to give them their props. I'm not afraid to give them their flowers. Like they played well.
The only two players that actually impressed me, I'm being honest, was Stones and Maguire. The rest, yeah, the rest.
Sterling didn't impress you.
No.
Grealish didn't impress you?
No, Grealish is one. I thought people get too
Nah,
much of a
no,
bone over Grealish,
because
man.
of this guy.
They get too much of a bone.
This guy got an assist, and he had influence in the build up for
England offensively.
exactly. I have to give him respect. Luke Shaw as well had a very good game as well. After all the talk that
Luke
Jose
Shaw
was
had
giving him, he had
a good second half. Luke Shaw had a good second half. First half, everyone was calling him to be off.
It's kind of easy to say that when someone comes on and then you score, then the person obviously was the reason.
He wasn't that good, Grealish, man.
To me, that's I don't know.
I mean, he was involved in both build-ups.
Yeah,
for
you
the
have
goals.
to.
He wasn't.
You have to
that
give
good,
him the
man.
respect. You have to give him the respect, man.
No,
because
he did well to get the assist,
do
but
we
I'm
score those 2 goals if he's not on the pitch?
Did he have an
Because
impact on the second?
he assisted the second goal.
Oh no, I'm talking about the first goal, the Sterling one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he played it to Shaw.
Yeah, he played it to Shaw. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So
true.
he had an impact on both of the goals. You have to give him his respect. He did impact the game.
I didn't think
Obviously,
he was that good in
people.
my opinion.
Obviously, nah, I think he had a good game. Obviously, people like to overhype it, like, but just let England fans, let us enjoy it, man. Let us enjoy it.
I'm not even
It's international football.
I'm not even trying to discredit it. I think Southgate got his selection right, but I think going back to the back three, I totally agreed with it. But I'm just looking at the performance. Like I didn't think, like the press, like the way England press, I didn't think it was aggressive enough, in my personal opinion. I think they could have got. I think they could have got at Germany a bit more.
Fair point.
Again, I said Maguire and Stones were the only 2 players that impressed me. Sterling had good moments where he showed he was flickering, like he was.
But can I say, Josh? I think the lack of the press was probably due to the change of formation, because normally we have our Cam, who's leading the Cam. Normally it's Mount like pressing a lot, but because we played the 3-4-3, we didn't have the Cam, so maybe that's why the press lacked. And I feel like the wingers were a lot more narrow and playing closer to Kane and trying to give the wing back space to come forward. So I feel like that's probably the reason why the press wasn't.
No, I 100% hear that. I'm not even trying to say it was a bad performance or anything. I'm just saying I wasn't impressed.
Not even defensively. Not even defensively.
Defensively,
because let's be real. Let's be real. Germany didn't have, as we said before, Germany didn't have any high quality chances apart from the one that England gave them, and surely that has to be defensive system based. because against Portugal they created so many chances.
And can I just quickly say we haven't conceded a goal in this tournament yet?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So yeah.
But I did say Maguire and Stones impressed me the most. So
I think Rice was good as well. I think people were taken away from Rice as well. Like I think Rice is part of that defense.
Rice, he was okay, man. He was okay.
He protects I feel like he had a decent game. I know I've been critical with him, but he did have a decent game.
Like on the
that's
ball,
what I'm
he's not
saying with
fantastic.
most of these guys. They had decent professional games. Only Stones and
But it's against a Germany side. Like obviously we're gonna give them more flowers because of England versus Germany. It's a very big occasion, and they rose to the occasion.
I give more flowers to Southgate than any of the players, in my opinion, and especially because of the reaction, before the game and stuff like that. The man saw I said, "Oh, he's playing with two defensive midfielders." That's one thing that people say all the time that I can't quite wrap my head around it. You've seen Rice and Phillips play, and you really still think that they are two defensive midfielders, like in terms of how they play. Because Phillips kept playing in balls in behind, so he was more of like box. So he's not really he's a defensive midfielder, but what he's playing for England is not as a defensive midfielder. So
he's forward a lot.
Exactly. So whenever I see people saying two DMs, it just it pisses me off. Then there's no creativity in midfield and stuff like that. But you obviously have to take that part of away because you're going up against a Germany side that presses a lot. So you're not going to see too much. You're not going to see too much of the ball. I mean, you can obviously see Germany had more possession. You're not going to see too much of the ball. So if you don't see too much of the ball, there's really no need for an attacking midfielder because attacking midfielders always rely on having the ball, trying to play in behind and stuff like that. So going with the three at the back was the right choice because obviously he matched Germany's zone as well. So there was no overload on their fullbacks. So Shaw could push up. Trippier could push up. In fact, Trippier was almost like a winger in that game per se because Walker kind of like pushed to right back and Shaw was a bit, came back more than Trippier and stuff like that. So, like Josh said, I think it was just a very professional performance. I think tactically they were good, and I put that on Southgate because he gets a lot of stick, but today and a lot of times, sorry, not today, that day and a lot of times that he's been in this competition, he's made a lot of right decisions. But I think I kind of hear what Josh is saying that, there was nothing so spectacular about the performance, but, still it's a win. It's a good win. Everybody, did their job per se. And, they got the results. Good on them. So nothing too much more can be said about that, but yeah.
Actually, we'll get into it, but we can even mention it now actually because we won't go too in detail. But what are the changes you'd make for the game against Ukraine? So I'll go one by one. So Dan, what would be the changes you'd make to the team for the game against Ukraine?
I think I'd go back to 4-2-3-1. I'd put Grealish in the 10, and then Sterling, and then I'd maybe give probably Sancho on the right instead of Saka and Kane up top. But the rest, I'd keep the same. Maybe go with Henderson if he's fit in the midfield over one of Rice or Phillips, depending on potential suspensions and whatnot, because I know both of them have been booked a couple of times. So I think that would be the only change I make.
One thing, I'm deep in, I feel Southgate tells these guys to play out wide a lot more. They don't play centrally a lot. They don't play, because I was looking at Rice when he gets the ball, he always recycles it out wide. Rice is capable of playing it through the middle, like progressing the ball. But when you see him a lot of the times, he just plays it out wide. Like he's bare safe. I don't know if I've just noticed that. I feel like Southgate tells them to be quite conservative on the ball. They don't take many risks. Maybe Phillips at times he'll play an occasional long pass, but I don't know. I feel like he tells the midfielders to be quite safe on the ball. I don't know if you guys have realized that, but no, that's what I've seen. But Denzel, what changes would you make for the next game?
Yeah, I completely agree with Dan. I think maybe taking off one of the CDMs per se would be wise because like Dan said, the carding issue, and I feel like Sancho deserves a run, and I feel like he'll cook against Ukraine. Personally, I feel like he can have a good game against Ukraine. Obviously Saka had that good first game. Second game he was okay, but obviously it's a big occasion for a young player to be playing in anyway, so you have to give him props for that. But yeah, I'd say probably go with Sancho on the right in the next game and Grealish in the number 10. I don't want to see if you guys are coming back in. I know some people are pushing for that, but I'm not trying to see him.
Ori?
Yeah, similar thing. I think I tweeted about it. If because obviously England are going to see more of the ball, then that is where Grealish as a 10 would be appropriate, because I know a lot of people are always just calling for Grealish in the team, but it's always a thing of like, I feel like Grealish is obviously better on the left in my opinion, and obviously you have Sterling on the left, and I would obviously rather play Sterling on the left, but and Grealish as a 10, I feel the only specific games that you could play him as a 10 in, and against Ukraine is one of those games because England would see more of the ball. So yeah, I'll go with Grealish as a 10. Yeah, like Dan said, I'll probably try and get Henderson in there. Probably Henderson and Rice. Then Shaw, Walker as a right back. Walker or Trippier, I don't know. Either one. I'm
I
not
don't
really
trust. I don't rate. No, I don't trust. I don't rate Walker as a right back playing for England.
He's been poor so far, actually, this
Yeah.
tournament.
In his I might go
Defensively, he's good though. He's defensively good though.
I go for Trippier. James, yeah, I'm not really too, a lot of right back options. Obviously centre back pairing of Maguire and Stones. Yeah, for front three, Sterling, Kane. I probably go with Foden actually. I probably go with Foden because I just feel like I guess there's something Southgate is seeing that we're not seeing, because I feel like he likes to play left-footed players on the right. And in terms of dynamics, I really see why that works a lot, because whenever Saka had the ball, he was always trying to cut in rather than go outside, and he won a foul, and he seemed, like he was troubling their defense for a bit and stuff like that. Even when Grealish came on and Sterling was forced to right, I mean, Sterling was basically still on the left per se, because he came, and when Shaw played that ball, he was basically on the edge of Harry Kane. So he wasn't on the far side, he was on the narrow side. So he was basically still on the left per se. Yeah, I'll go with Foden just purely based on the fact that he's left-footed and he will most likely tend to cut in rather than go outside. I guess that's why, I guess Southgate probably like something about that. And same as well, I rather inverted wingers than going outside and stuff like that. Sancho, I wouldn't mind him on the right as well. And I feel like he could obviously come on to at some point in the game. But yeah, I feel like people should just start trusting Southgate's decisions, as weird as it seems. But he's been making a lot of good decisions this tournament. So we'll see how that goes for them.
Yeah, I hear that, man. I hear that. To England's opponents now for the next round, Ukraine. They beat Sweden 2-1. I can't lie, I was in and out of the game. I saw the red card. Jesus, that was bad, bro. Man nearly broke his leg, bro. But yeah, anybody watch the game?
Yeah, I did.
I watched the beginning of the game. I didn't watch the ending though.
I did watch the game.
You can go then.
Yarmolenko, man. Wow. I mean,
He scored. Oh no, the outside the boot thing.
Yeah. That international tournaments just really amaze me sometimes. You see some meaty ballers, just becoming like playing like some world class footballer and stuff like that. Like, no disrespect, but who is Yarmolenko? But that ball he played in, that's I think I've said it on this podcast before that I kind of have like a weird theory that a lot of players are not really bad, like, because professional football is really, really, really high level, and I always see people, non-professionals on Twitter, always trying to have a dig at bad players per se. But their ability still, even the players who are not as good as some, what they can still do on the ball is quite impressive. And obviously Yarmolenko showed that with that outside of the full assist. And Zinchenko, man, what a finish, then one assist at the end. He basically put his country on his back per se, and that's the type of performance that will go as one of their greatest ever. But yeah, Sweden were unlucky though. They hit the post a couple of times. Isak, he was good. He got an assist. Probably could have been better. He just had an average tournament. I think a lot of people expected more from him, but still take nothing away from him. He's obviously still going to the top. Forsberg was really good. He was the one who got the shot that hit the post. He has 4 goals now in the tournament. I mean, obviously it's over for him, but very impressive tournament for him. The red card, I don't think it affected the game too much. It was obviously close to the end. Everyone was kind of tired and stuff like that. But
It was in extra time. Wow. Yeah, no.
everyone,
Actually,
everyone was tired as well. So I'm obviously sure Sweden were probably just trying to push for penalties, but obviously that goal came and nothing really much they could do about that. Even defensively, I can't really put too much in. I think Sweden were good defensively. They were just unlucky for both goals. I think Lindelof also had a very good tournament in general for Sweden. But yeah, I know they would be obviously hurt that they couldn't get to the quarterfinals, but they topped their group. They got to the round of 16. Something to take back, home and just push on from there. But good on Ukraine. They play England next. Obviously, England are favorites, but I guess that's where I think Sweden were kind of favorites against Ukraine as well. I don't know too much, but so Ukraine will obviously probably like the fact that they're underdogs again and try and have a go at England. But that is a game that I would also like to see as well.
say nothing, man. Say nothing. So let's do some quarterfinal predictions now. So like last time, just gonna go through each game. We're just gonna mention who our winners are gonna be. So first one, Switzerland versus Spain. You never know with Switzerland. I don't think they're good. You never know, but I'm gonna go Spain. Dan,
Yeah, I'm Spain as well.
Denzel,
Spain.
all right,
Spain.
all right. Belgium, Italy. That one could go extra time. I could see that. Ooh, the fact that there's no Hazard and De Bruyne, Carrasco, Mertens. Yeah, that one. Lukaku's going to be the difference. So I'm going to go Belgium. Dan,
Yeah, I agree. Belgium.
Denzel,
I'm gonna go with Belgium, but it's very tight. Could see Italy winning this one, but yeah, I'm gonna go with Belgium.
Ari.
Yeah, I'll actually go with Belgium as well. Yeah, I do think it'll be close. I think I see Belgium scoring kind of like similar to the Portugal game, kind of. But yeah, I'll go with Belgium.
Czech Republic versus Denmark. I'm going to go with Denmark. Dan.
Do you know what? I think Patrick Schick and Czech, even though I don't rate them too highly, I think they might break Danish hearts.
Okay. Denzel.
I'm gonna go with Denmark.
Yeah, all
I feel
right.
like the juice still flowing.
Yeah, I think I'll go with Denmark as well. Yeah, I think attacking wise they've been quite good. Czech probably they work really hard and stuff like that. It'll be a good game, but yeah, I feel like Denmark just edge it from me.
Final one, Ukraine or England. I'll go England, but you never know England, man. Dan.
I'll go England because it should be England, really. But as you said, you never know.
Denzel.
You never know with football, but yeah, I'm gonna stick with the local lads. Let's go England.
Ari.
Yeah, I'll go with England, but it'll be quite, very England-like to beat Germany and then go out to Ukraine. But
yeah, that's what I feel. Yeah,
I still have to go for England. It would be quite interesting if they do lose that game, but I guess yeah, obviously on paper they should be all the way to the final already, but we'll see how that goes.
100%, man. 100%. Yeah, man. I think that's it. I think we wrapped that up. Do we have any thoughts? Anything that we want to get off our chests that we've seen from the last couple of days? Nothing. Goodbye to what's his name, Ronaldo, innit? This is gonna be his last years probably, innit? So what's it called? Nah, he did his thing, innit?
How
He
old is
got 5
Ronaldo?
goals.
36.
Yeah, 36.
Next year is in 3 years.
Yeah.
Maybe.
29-year-old
39.
CR7. You never know.
Well, if it was another team but Portugal, I'll probably say yeah. But based on Portugal's like the quality they're bringing up through the ranks, yeah, he shouldn't be going for that. I saw like Zlatan. Zlatan is 40, and he was going to go for, or he's 39, I think, and he was going to
Gonna be
come
40, bro, in October.
Yeah,
I think the fact
Yeah.
that Ronaldo's won it, he won't do it again because he
yeah,
doesn't really need to prove.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
The
I feel
World
like-
Cup's the one that he wants, man.
Yeah,
The World Cup's the one
yeah.
he wants.
He should
Yeah.
bow out at the World Cup. Yeah.
Yeah, he should actually retire after the World Cup. Like,
Yeah.
Internationally, anyway.
I don't know. I think
Maybe
he's in
permanently.
everything, man. Everything could. Or
Because I don't
maybe-
see a place for him.
Yeah. Literally, I think. Where's he gonna go after Juve? His contract
Yeah,
runs
exactly.
out this summer, and
MLS, probably.
maybe a 1 year thing, innit? And then
Yeah,
Mm.
man.
I think he should go to
Into Miami, innit?
I think he should go to PSG before he calls it wraps.
Nah, I don't want to see that. I can't lie. I'm not trying to see that move.
I would like to see another Galactico team though, just bare big names, bro.
I don't think they ever work, though.
Yeah.
By
Just be
definition,
fun,
they
innit?
don't work.
It'd just be fun, innit? Just seeing bare all stars in one team, and just be fun. But
I think Real
Yeah.
Madrid are trying to do that with Mbappe and Haaland. But
Yeah.
Mbappe and Haaland, future of football apparently.
Both not in the tournament.
It's a scary sight, man. It's a scary sight. But yeah, you guys, man, that's it for this week. Well, not even for this week, but just for this episode, innit, man? Because we'll be back again after the quarterfinals, innit? Fam, we're active, bruv, in summer. We're active. But come on, man. The Euros have been lit so far, especially the knockout rounds. But you man know what to do. As I said before, like, comment, and subscribe. That should be like, what's it? The free a day in or whatever. Free per episode. Like, comment, and subscribe, and what's it called? Share it with your people in it. But we'll catch you again soon, people. Peace.